Hey, I wanted to let you know I connected with Stella, so things are going great for her.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
As the weeks go on, we get fewer and fewer real faces. So much fun.
Ashley, I think it's because you keep saying that you're creeping on everybody's house.
So much fun, Alicia.
Oh, I know.
How are the babies doing?
They're good. I feel like we're all gaining a little weight over here, though.
I'll apologize again since you're here. That was totally my faux pas. I sent it to a different Linda.
Oh, that's right. No worries. I actually just finished a podcast we had a great guest on who wrote the book, The Connector's Way. So we kind of just finished up that as I got your text. So it's perfect timing.
Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I think for this particular group, you don't need much of an intro. Whoop. Bye.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to turn on a little bit extra light here. Seems a little dark. It's a little cloudy here. There we go.
All right. Where are you? Are you in?
There's always people who have it worse, and even we were checking on our real estate properties the other day, and there was only a few people, and we have like 89 properties, and then we have like 19 vacation rentals.
Oh,
so,
boy.
we're just watching it day by day. How much is it? What are we thinking? But here's the beautiful thing on I will still have some profit share come in.
Yeah.
I will still have investment properties that the people do pay. And so it really just drives home for me even more. And the part that gets me excited, if there is anything that gets me excited, is people are going to be more ready for this message. If you've been quarantined at home, and like my trainers put it so well the other day, don't tell Mo she said this, but I said, I would like your input because she's someone who spoke to me about passive income and doing it, and she never does it and all that stuff. And I said, how do you feel about that message now? Because I feel like when we come out of this, people are going to be more ready for the message I love sharing, right? And she said, well, I put it like this: you're either screwed or you're not. And I thought, that's so true, because she was a trainer. She had one stream of income. Thank God her brother has a skin care company, and so he put her to work in that. But she said, I'm ready to listen. And so what I'm saying about that is the blessing that will come out of this is people who had not, we had our crash in the late 80s. That was our wake up call.
Yeah.
That made us realize the importance of creating wealth and passive income. This is so many people's wake up call. And sometimes we don't wake up until the suddenly, this is the gradually and the suddenly that makes us sit up and pay attention.
And this suddenly, there was no gradual lead up to. We
No.
knew something would happen eventually, but a pandemic, for goodness sake, it shuts down the globe.
The gradually was much shorter, right? It happened in China, and then bam, it happened to us. Yeah. So, so we're doing fine. The thing is, you just start cutting back because you don't know where the bottom is. It's like and I've been through downturns and shifts before. So in a lot of ways it's similar, and in a lot of ways it's different. And you just kind of measure every day, what can I control and what can I not control? And, I'm not going to lie. You have a day where you're thinking, man, I'm kind of down today, So what things work for me to get me back up? Reading a book, connecting with someone who maybe sees the world differently today than I do. Hopefully not the same person that sees it as a gray day, today also. Or I'll go for a run. And some days I just eat oatmeal cream pies, and then that makes me feel better. But
so I can go for a run.
And somebody said it so well on a podcast the other day. They said, our coping mechanisms have been cut off. And it dawned on me, I stay busy. My coping mechanism for everything is just get active and do something else. And the do something else, I can't go do right now. So I have had to change that. Now it's I run anyway, but now I'm running even more regular. And that seems to modify my mood a little bit. I'll pick up a great book, or I'll listen to a podcast. I'm blessed because my grandchildren are here and they brighten my day, you know, because they're happy. They're like, man, I hope this pandemic thing lasts forever. This is so fun. Everybody's home with me, you know, and we're juggling between whose turn is it and who's got a Zoom call. But so, yeah, we're doing great. And, you know, what it is what you heard was we have lots of LLCs, but when you boil down our streams of income, they wind up being about 7 or 8 specific ones. Profit share, our real estate team, our offices, our real estate investments, and our region. And so, you know, they're really kind of consolidated if you kind of lump them into categories to probably 5 to 7 that are just categories.
And they're all real estate related, all
And
dependent
all real estate
on our
related.
real estate
And
market moving.
Yeah. And by the way, I thought it was a wake up call for me because I thought none of all of this would ever happen.
Yeah.
You know, like we all did. But here's the interesting thing. I probably of the 80 something houses, I think, and I'm going to recheck with her this week, but I want to say maybe 4 people had lost their job. We're walking around thinking the whole world lost their job. The whole world hasn't lost their job. When I was running to go run the other day, I drove by a FedEx truck and I think these FedEx guys are working their rear ends off. They're super busy. Grocery store people are super busy. Healthcare people are super busy. There's still people that haven't lost their job. So we can't get in that hole of everybody, the whole world's lost their job,
Right.
because that's not the case. And I have a friend that bought 2 cars in the past 2 weeks. If that car salesman had thought the whole world was never going to buy a car, they wouldn't have sold 2 cars in the last 2 weeks, you know, to these people who are in different positions than everybody else. So we have to look for the opportunities. There's always opportunities, and you just have to find the time to say, okay, what are the opportunities here? Where is an opportunity?
Well, you mentioned your vacation rentals, and of course that market, no matter where you are, is there's going to be some opportunity to pick up some properties.
Exactly. And we're looking forward to those. We had just bought one the week this kind of all started. And we bought it sight unseen, but we bought it through a video. And you were kind of thinking, oh man, I wish we hadn't bought that, because that price is probably going to go down. But whatever, we did. It'll be fine in the long run. You hold things long enough, they cure any
There's a book about that, right?
There's a book about that says if you hold it long enough, it fixes everything. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, because in all the other shifts in the past, I've not been ready to take advantage, as ready as we are now to take advantage. So yes, we've got things that'll go down, but we're cutting our expenses. We're using Gary's formula of 3 months of no income as what we think. And then the next year, 50% income. And so that's kind of what we're doing. And we're just looking for things that we can cut that we don't necessarily need. And just to be on the safe side. Cause like in any downturn, you don't know where the bottom is. And that's what scares people, is I don't know where the bottom is, but I think we're going to be okay. And the stimulus money, we all applied for all of that to keep our employees. That was our main concerns. We didn't really want to have to let go of our employees. And so, you know, so I think you do that, and you say, what can I learn from this? So if this ever happens again, what are the lessons that are here for me to learn that really I can go through this again and it won't be the same as it is this time.
So what are you learning?
I'm learning that cash is king. See, we've never preached cash is king. We've always preached good leverage through real estate investments, and I will still preach real estate investments because, I was going to tell you, the 4 people that lost their job, one of them, my property manager, went out and found them a job, and the other 3 found their own job. So real estate proves to be a great investment. And by the way, I'll still get profit share. I won't get as much, but it'll be a stream of income. And so those 2, my lesson is those 2 still are very valid things we should work on.
Yeah. I actually think looking at what's happening in the real estate environment, we probably have never had, and I don't ever intend to pitch anything on these. This is really just to have people get their energy up. But I don't think we're ever going to have a better chance to build our profit share trees than in the next 3 to 6 months, because so many brokerages won't survive this, and those people will have a place to go.
Well, and even before that, we should be reaching out and say, hey, how are you doing? I respect you in the industry, which I just did a Connect Live on why it's a great time to build relationships with other realtors, which is my formula for building my profit share anyway. It's relationship plus validity plus value over time. Who do I want to be a hero to? Who would I enjoy helping? what's my validity to get them to want to have a relationship with me, or what do we have in KW that we could use for that? Books, classes, these kind of things, sharing this kind of motivational stuff with people, and training. We have training almost every day at Keller Williams Connect. And what are some things I could use to help them? Let me wake up every day and want to go help 4 or 5 of them that I like and would like to be in relationship with. And then through that, let me learn to ask great questions and listen. What's their value gaps right now? What do they need that their companies are not providing? Because I promise you there's plenty. And then let me just fill that with no strings attached. I don't know if they'll ever join. I'm not attached to that part. But if I just pour value, it's like building my real estate business. If I give enough value over time, I just can't lose. You can't outgive what life will give you. You can't outgive it. It just won't happen. It's not possible. I think there's a law
Law of reciprocity.
Yeah, that just won't let that happen. And so I just don't worry about that. And I've picked some of my people that are independents, and I'm making calls to those people. I'm sending them books that I think that might help them. Shift books. I'm sending them another book that I really like right now. And I'm just deepening those relationships because you just never know what doors might open it. And if you don't have those relationships, you can't have the possibility of that door opening ever.
Sure. What else are you learning?
I'm learning that there's actually some good stuff when you slow down. There's things that you can slow down and still be productive, but maybe be at a slower pace.
I've never seen you move slow, so that's what I was fishing for. Wondered if you've come to appreciate kind of this pause.
Yeah, I have. I'm one of those that ever so often I get real antsy and I need to go to a new location. So I'll be in Texas for a while, and then I'll go to Ohio to work in the region, and then I'll get an itch and go to the beach house in San Diego in your beautiful location. And I've been here longer. I don't like routine, and I don't like the same thing over and over. So I really have to fight that a little bit. But I've just asked myself, what are some things that when I'm not at home, I miss? And they're routine things like sitting in front of in my infrared sauna. I love my infrared sauna, but if I'm not home, I can't sit in it. I love running, and don't always get to do that if I'm on the road. And so I've just asked myself, what are the things that when I'm on the road, I miss about having a routine and being at home? And I'm just making sure I'm doing those things, reading regularly, waking up. I love to wake up early and read and drink my coffee when nobody else is up and it's quiet, and I can look out. We live on water. We get on water wherever we can. And so we live on a lake here. And then of course, when we're in San Diego, we're looking at the beautiful ocean. And I just, sit there having my coffee, reading my Kindle, and looking out at the little fishermen that are fishing on the lake that day, or the fog that might be on the lake. And just enjoying those quiet moments that I don't get to do a lot of when things go back to the regular pace.
Sure. So I know you've had over the years. Well, first, could you go back? I don't think everybody here probably knows your background, like your childhood background, and how bleak in some respects it was. Because we just get to see, the superstar status and not realize you're pretty self-made.
Yeah. And I think, I think we get given in life what we need. And I try to focus on what were the good things that I got from that. I really got a great work ethic growing up the way I grew up. I grew up with a dad and 2 brothers, a broken home. Both parents were alcoholics. And I really think I've spent a lot of my life seeing how far the spectrum goes on the other side to get away from the dysfunction and the things that just were not fun, to be honest with you. But as a kid, you're so resilient, right? Yeah. And learning that there are people there to help you no matter where you are in life. And so how can I be those people to help other people? I love the Salvation Army. I have a goal to give them $1 million, because the Salvation Army was my knight in shining armor. They're the people that came to save me. And so, I learned
What do you mean by that?
Actually, it's real interesting. As dysfunctional as my parents were, my dad sent us to church every Sunday and Wednesday that the doors were open. And the way he did that is he had the Salvation Army come. They had a station wagon. I don't know if they still do this or not, but I think they still do. They came in a station wagon and they picked up all the kids who didn't have a way to get to church. And so they would pick me up every Sunday and Wednesday. And then every summer I went to their church camp. I can't remember what it's called, but went to their church camp, and they had, like they had something, I think they were called sunbeams or something, where you sold cookies and stuff every year. And I always would win the sales award because that was so fun to me, I didn't realize it, but I love sales, right? Hence my future. And so, I just think that's how they did it. They brought us every Christmas, every holiday. They brought us food. They brought us presents. They just were the people that showed up in a gap, just like we need to show up in people's gap. I had a value gap and my family had a value gap, and they showed up and filled that gap, just like we got to show up every day, and we got to find gaps and we got to fill them just like that. So yeah, it was, but I think I learned so much from it. And I think I've spent most of my life trying to go the opposite way. I always say the thing that I love is there's no situation you're in that you don't have the power to get out of somehow. You may have to get some help to do it, but you can get out of it.
Well, and I've always been curious, never asked you this, but I mean, you were in poverty, right? And just so everybody knows, no running water in the house, no bathroom, no plumbing until you were what, 16?
Actually, I went into a foster home at 12, so they had plumbing.
But I know a lot of us, when we are raised in an environment, we keep that mentality,
right?
And until we find somebody or somebody finds us to show us a different way. So specifically for you, what was kind of your bridge to a different way of thinking?
That is a great question, because I just lost a brother and a sister within about a month and a half of each other. And my brother was the lost child in the family. He was middle of the pack. In almost all of our memories, we can't remember where Clifton was. We're like, where was Clifton? I remember my older sister. I remember my older brother. I remember my other sister. But where was, and so he was kind of the lost brother. And so hence he went to drugs and lived just a really hard life. And there were 5 of us, and we all came out different. And, I don't know. I mean, if I could answer that question, I don't know. I think there has to be something inside that makes you want to get up and fight, to have something different. I'm sure there were people in my life that showed me that there was possibility or hope, because I think we all, no matter what our situation is, we have to see some hope. And when we see that hope, we can run towards it. So I honestly, I wish I knew, but I still have it, whatever it is, because it just doesn't go away. It's one of those desires to be all I can be, learn all I can learn, and just say, what else is there, and I don't know. I think innately God gives it to you or whatever. I don't know, because I've looked at my brothers and sisters and we tend to sometimes think because people don't want what we want that they're not happy. That's not necessarily true. They're happy or they'd change something, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because of the 5 of us, we all went through the same things and we all responded differently. So I don't know. I wish I knew. We could write a book on that, Ashley, if we figure it out.
Yeah. Good time. You've got some time to think about it.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I love that you said that, you keep just thinking, what else? I've shared this a few times that I've taught, but I will always, to the day I die, remember walking down by the house when you were looking for the new house.
Yeah.
Getting to, and you just may find this humorous, getting to one of those alleys that we were in, and you and Jimmy and Tony were talking about you guys buying a plane. And I literally just stopped and looked around like, how in the world am I in this conversation? These people are thinking way out here. And so just by being at this point, you're shifting the way people get to think and experience the world. So thank you.
Well, and I think we're here to teach each other and learn from each other. And, I think, there's always people out there that you can spend time with that will stretch your mind and make you think bigger and see things that you're not maybe able to see. That's why I think we're all meant to be together and help each other. And, some of those deep relationships, we go way, way back with Tony and Diana for many, many years. And I just cherish those. And, when I'm grateful, those are the things I'm grateful for, because they add so much value to your life and you add so much value to each other. Right. And so I think part of our lesson through this COVID-19 is to do more of that. Just like the guy we just had on our podcast, he wrote the book, The Connector's Way. And we were just talking about now more than ever, people need connection. And it's the one thing we can give that doesn't cost any money.
Yeah.
It's not complicated, and it's not as hard as cold calling. Just reach out to the people who already you have in your database and say, how can I help you? I've had only one of my vendors reach out to me, one banker reach out and say, here's what we're going to do for you. And we didn't even ask. And I'm so appreciative of him. I want to move some more money over to his bank. We got several bankers, but he's the one that reached out. And I thought, how kind of him. And so people are hurting right now. They have value gaps that we can fill. And the best way you can take your mind off what's happening is to put it onto someone else.
Yeah. And I think as you were saying that, I'm thinking, we are all isolated apart from each other. And I know for me, who gets energy from people, that's one of the challenges. But it's specifically that has made me or reinforced my belief that relationships are everything and that we're all interconnected. And it took us all being disconnected, I think, to realize that's what we really crave. And that's just, we are interconnected, and we need to be more conscious when we come out of this.
Yes.
To maintain kind of those relationships that we're deepening now.
And I noticed the other day when we were running, I still run with my girlfriend because we've been quarantined at the same times together, but we run across, which she laughs because she says, Linda, to be honest with you, we've always social distanced because you run faster than me. And I said, yeah, but the only difference now is I don't have to turn around and keep apologizing for it. You know what I mean? But we were running, and I noticed how much more cordial, and how I notice the guy that's doing the lawn, and I say, hi, how are you? And I've probably passed that guy because we've been running for years. I've probably passed that guy, I don't know how many times, and I never even saw him. And it's just interesting. If you really pay attention, I believe the lessons and the messages are here that we're supposed to be getting.
Well, and again, when you just said that, it's because we don't have the distraction of all the other places our brains are going in our typical workday with, 17 LLCs. We've had to slow down. And I believe our brains can't take in all of that, right? We cannot possibly take in all the stimuli. And when we're thinking the 50 things we need to respond to today, that's why we don't observe those things in our environment. So what a great blessing to be able to take in your whole new world that isn't a new world.
So true. I think I have a question here, if it's okay if I answer it.
Absolutely.
Kristen, well, first of all, thank you, Kristen. She says, I love your podcast, Everything Life in Real Estate. It's inspirational and great business and real estate insights. So thank you. We do our best. And then how do you balance so many different business ventures? What is there that you haven't done yet that you want to still accomplish? So this is great questions. So first of all, we balance the businesses with great people. And I tell you, through this COVID-19, our people have really risen to the occasion, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of each and every one of them because they've all stepped it up. They're working harder than they've ever worked. And so we've done it through great people. You can't keep piling more on your plate without another great who. And I'm going to be honest with you, what I want to do more of that I haven't done is I want to experience more great relationships in my life. And this is a roadblock for me because I know I really study Dan Sullivan, who believes that everybody has a unique ability, and we're going to get more out of life when we collaborate. And so I get excited thinking, oh my gosh, who else has great talents that I don't have those talents? And there's a lot of them that I don't have. That would be awesome if I could connect with those people and collaborate. And there's something that I'm procrastinating on doing that because I almost get so giddy that there's so many great people in the world that have great talents that if I could put my talents with their talents, we could both win so much bigger. And so that's what I want to still accomplish is I want to get better at finding those collaborations and putting them together. I'm not always looking at this stage in my life. I'm not going out and looking for the new thing. Sometimes we have to be careful as entrepreneurs. We want to chase the new shiny object. And the truth is, if you look at Gary Keller and very successful people like him, he picks one topic that he could spend the rest of his life working on and goes real deep with that. And so that's where I'm at right now in my life. I have to be careful because I do like the new shiny objects, but I've learned that I love helping real estate entrepreneurs understand and have bigger and brighter futures with their time, and freedoms of their time, money, and relationships. And I could do it all day long, every day, and I never tire of it. And I don't measure the money. I just know that when you give value in the world, the money shows up. So by doing that, I just want to do more of that and have bigger platforms to do it. Hence why we're doing the podcast. Hence why I'm working on some other online things so that I can broaden my reach to do it. So I'm not looking necessarily for new things. I'm definitely into experiences. I decided a few years ago, I love giving people I care about, and I love experiences because they remember it so much longer than gifts and things like that. So I am always looking for what would be a full, cool experience. Like, for example, I took my sister, who is my rock, she's the person that when we were 12 years old, she was keeping me in an apartment with another teenage girl because there were no adults. And she was walking to a job at 12 years old. So I love this woman, and I just want to honor her and make her life better always. She turned 70 this year, and we took her to Israel for the trip of a lifetime with John Maxwell, and we were baptized in the Jordan River together because she had never been baptized, because she's the introvert. And I'm an introvert too, but she doesn't understand why I go do all the things I do, and she likes a routine and I don't like a routine. So she's never gotten up in front of a church because she only has an 8th grade education, and she's always concerned about that. So it holds her back. So to take her and do that,
That's awesome.
oh my God, the greatest gift I could have given myself. And so I've been into experiences. So I want to do more experiences with the people. I also take our leadership team to John Maxwell's exchange event every year. I love doing that. So just
you brought him here too for the Navy SEAL thing.
Yeah, well, that was my Ohio Valley team. That was my regional team. Yes. That was my OPs and team leaders. Yes. And that was a blast too. So I want to do more of that because it gives me such joy, and it makes memories for people that they can carry with them for a lifetime. So more of that stuff, Kristen. So that's a great question. So thanks for asking that.
It's not on here, but it's come up a few times this week with people. You are married. There's another half, Jimmy.
36 years, 38 years, somewhere around in them 30 something years. It's so good. It's so good. We don't count anymore.
Well, and that was going to be the question. Have you ever been quarantined before? And how's that going?
You know, it's so funny. Have you seen the video going around where the lady's hiding in the closet and she's like, okay, this was good. It was like a long weekend in the beginning, but now it's a little much. And she talks about she'd been married for 31 years. And the man asked me where the spoons were. She goes, the spoons are where they've been for 31 years, So it's not that bad, but I love it. I've sent it around to everybody. First, I didn't open it because I thought it was like a horror thing, because she looks like she's like she's got a flashlight under her mouth, but she's hiding in the closet from her husband, who has these bad ideas that he wants to spend his quarantine time doing. So we're so used to being together that it's not, it's not unusual for us. So it's not, whereas people who normally go off to different jobs, I'm sure that's different, but we go do the same job. Now that our kids are grown, we go do the same job a lot. So it's been good, and we will kind of go do our own thing. He'll go piddle in his coins or different things like that, or his guitar and different things. And, I'll go for a run with a girlfriend, and, so it's been fine. Probably the hardest.
Grandkids.
And they are here, yes, because we've been with them the whole time too. So they are here. So that's been fun. It's different because we had this really quiet house because we're empty nesters, and now it's not so quiet and it's not so clean, but it's full of joy. It's so full of joy.
That's awesome. All right. What experience or trip that's on your bucket list you want to do when we can start to travel again?
We love to do jazz cruises with the Ubaldinis. They got us into jazz cruises a few years ago. And so we really have enjoyed those. And we're supposed to go to Amsterdam and some other cool places. That one's, still on my list. I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't have bucket list to go to all these places all over the world. I'm just as happy. I say I've got these two extreme happies. I'm super happy on the ocean in San Diego, and I'm super happy in our cabins in Branson, Missouri. So I can just go either direction and love them both. I like spas. So I think if I had to put more things on my bucket list, it would be, taking my daughter-in-law, going with a friend to these really cool spas. I just love going to spas. So I would probably do a little bit more of that on my bucket list.
And I'm just curious, how is your daughter?
She's doing good. She is, her daughter's not feeling very good right now. I think she might have strep throat. So we're keeping her away, but they're doing great. She's actually, she's doing good. She organizing her house right now.
Awesome. Awesome. How do you keep a level head in the midst of success?
Well, you know what? I don't.
Oh, here. He wrote this in here. I think this is important. And this is Dan Noel from Colorado Springs. We were in a class together recently and I didn't recognize you. We worked together and you could have been anyone, not, the Linda McKissack. So I'd like to think that I'd stay humble too, but a roadmap to that humility would be great.
I think I grew up, always thinking we were inferior to everyone else, because that was kind of the atmosphere my dad put in our house. Like we just, I think a lot of it was just good manners he taught us, saying yes ma'am, no ma'am. But I also felt, and because we were so poor, I grew up kind of thinking that everyone was better. And somewhere I woke up in life and realized that no one's better, no one's worse. We're all just on this journey. And the more we just wake up and can relate to each other, because we are all the same. One of my favorite sayings is don't compare your insides to someone else's outsides. And we all tend to do that. I've done that in my life. And, I just think you just realize that what is success anyway? You know what I mean? To me, it's about happiness. It's about, and I'm always happy where I'm at, while I'm going where I'm going. But, I also am not foolish to think that money's going to make me any happier. Now, don't get me wrong. It's nice, but it's not making me happier. And relationships are making me happier. And I still have dysfunctional things that I have to work on like everybody else. I get kids that go off the rail like other people do. I threw a bottle at my husband the other day. I hadn't done that in 20 years. This is not during COVID, by the way.
Did you say you threw a bottle at him?
A bottle. It was a plastic Pellegrino bottle.
Oh.
In my water bottle. And I have not done that in 25. He moved, and he remembered real quick that I can't have a temper. And it was something that was just so stupid. And we both laughed later because I haven't done it in 20 something years, but I'm a high D. So when something gets me, it gets me real fast, but I've learned to taper that. But, we all have stuff. Parenting's not easy for anybody, whether your kids are little or grown. Money causes people to have arguments. Our arguments when in the late 80s, when we were so broke, it was awful, because we were so worried about where our money was going to come from, and we had lost everything. We didn't know where the bottom was. And so during these times right now, you could have those moments. I have to say, during COVID-19, I actually haven't had the moment. It was before, but it was just one of those topics. And I teach fierce conversations, so I shouldn't let something build up to where I throw a bottle, but we all, we just all are on the same journey, and we all have limiting beliefs, and we all have insecurities, and we all have, strengths. And the more we learn to appreciate all of those in each other and help each other where we can and learn from each other. And, I just think we're just all that, to me, that's success. Success is that. And I love showing people the way. So to me, success is, how can I find the way so I can show other people the way? And not everybody will want to go the way I want them to go. And I don't have to be attached to that, because the people that are in my life for me to help them, they will. And the ones that I'm in their life for them to help me, and it's for me to get, I'll get it.
Awesome.
Ashley, with all respect, I think I'll take over the interviewing. I just got Linda McKissack to admit to domestic violence on a call with 4 to 6 strangers. So you're doing a great job, but I think,
Yeah, the bottle wasn't breakable. I'm real glad, but it's so funny. We sit down and laugh later, because I have done some crazy things in our marriage. Early in our marriage, I poured a whole beer on him because I thought he was flirting with an old girlfriend. One time I threw all of his clothes. I heard him in there on the bathroom. This is before we were married, both of them. But I heard him in there on the bathroom with that same old girlfriend. And so I threw all of his clothes in the dumpster. I mean, I could get pretty vicious. And so, you know, but I had to do that early so he would know I meant business and he'd be scared. And I had to just remind him the other day, you better be scared.
So we know how Jimmy stays humble. He's terrified.
You know, he's just one of those guys that I swear, I mean, God sent him just for me, because any other man I'd probably send over the edge. And he just, you know, he's just man enough to laugh at me and say, whatever, you know.
That is so cool. 36, 38 years, somewhere in there. It works.
Let's see, 1982. So somebody figure the math of what that was. 92.
38. We're in
38.
1,000.
Yeah, because it'll be 40 and 22. Okay, there we go. 38 years.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's so fun. And we have a secret name for each other. We call each other Pete and Pearl, because we got confused about an aunt and uncle that he used to have that would come to our house, that we just thought they were like old and still driving. And they would come to our house every year for some reason about Halloween. And, you know, Pete would always fix her and wait on her and get her stuff. And Pearl was just Pearl. And so we just kind of one day woke up and started saying that, you know, now Pete, you better get down there and exercise, because don't leave me with all this crap by myself, you know. So we call each other, our nicknames are Pete and Pearl. And come to find out, the couple we were actually talking about was Harrison and Marguerite. But we liked Pete and Pearl so better, we just kept it.
Oh, I love it. All right, hon, what can we do for you?
You know what? Just go pour into other people. You know, now is a great time to go connect with 2 or 3 other great real estate agents, because I want each of you to think, if you're happy and you're thankful that someone introduced you to a company like we have, where we all care about each other, we help each other, and we are a great connection for each other, why wouldn't you be making those relationships to help other people? Just make the call, ask how you're doing, ask for their input and thoughts on what's happening. You know, what's the biggest need you have that I might be able to help you with, and just build those relationships. Do it with your database and do it with other realtors. Pass it on.
Yeah, pass it on. And you are so right. I couldn't, if we time traveled back 10 years, I could not imagine a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months that likely we're going to be doing these daily Zooms. But everybody is an equal in this company.
Yes.
You know, and there is so much humility.
Help.
Really, when I started to reach out to different people this last couple of weeks, there was still, my breath catches a little bit going, oh my gosh, I'm going to ask Linda McKissack if she'll do this. But on the other side of that, logically, I know, of course, they're going to say yes, because we just have the most incredible people. So get your ego out of the way and start reaching out to people. Don't make it about you. It can't be about you. It's about what they need.
Same thing when you're calling your database. They are not sitting around going, oh, Ashley hadn't called in about 2 years and 4 months, and now she's calling. They're not thinking about you. They're just not thinking about you, you know. Now, what you will do when you call them is you'll make them go, you know what? I haven't heard from anybody but my realtor. What's the heck's going on with all these other people? So yeah, don't look at it like you're doing something to someone. Just go serve and do something for someone.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Do we have any other questions that want to come up in here? Oh, Jennifer Jones says, Linda, what's your secret weapon for recruitment, or your superpower?
You know what? It's relationships. It's my formula. Relationship. Plus, I'm always working on my validity, or I use the validity of the company or people in the company to be valid to people that I want to build a relationship with. And then I just start a conversation either through a compliment or asking their thoughts and inputs, because those two things are people nobody gets tired of getting more of, and they don't get enough of them. No one gets asked, what do you think, enough, and no one gets paid a genuine compliment enough. So in doing that, I start the conversation, and then I learn to ask, what's the value gap that's going on with them? How can I help them? And then I just spend the rest of my time after that call trying to figure out, what do I have that I could give them or share with them or help them that would help them in this time.
And our friend Dan said, and the secret weapon is, if that doesn't work, threats of physical violence.
Yes, I will throw a bottle at you.
I didn't know we had that in common. It actually makes me feel so good.
I have to tell you, and it's so funny because it's been so long since early in our marriage, you could probably seen temperatures like that a little bit more. But I have learned in that 38 years, hence why we've been able to make it 38 years not to do that. But it was so funny.
The heat that comes up on your ears my
it
ears start getting.
It starts here in your neck and it goes, and sometimes it comes on quick. So I've really had to learn to think about what I'm going to say to someone. Stupid really brings it out. I mean, stupid. Have you ever noticed when you get tired, people get stupider? So I really learned to, okay, Linda, think about what you're going to say. Don't just say what goes right through that brain. And I do have a pretty high filter, so I can do that pretty much, except when I'm angry or, everybody has a trigger. Drivers are being taken advantage of. That's what they think. And then, there's different triggers for each of us. So learning that, and this is hence why I teach fierce conversations all the time, selfishly, because I need it myself. But you just learn
that because
yes.
Once we're through this, we will figure out in San Diego how to get you here. And
yes, I would love to. I love it. I teach it at least 2 to 3 times a year because it's just my favorite reminder of how to have great conversations that can enrich relationships. Absolutely.
All right. So Jerry Moore asked, and we have to remember not everybody's on these calls with Gary, right? So you mentioned the 3 months, 0 income, and then next year, 50%. So could you elaborate on that?
Well, the next 12 months, 50%. Just, because I don't have to have a perfect formula. I just sometimes like a formula, but Gary just said that's kind of what he's basing his stuff on. So he's cutting his expenses as if he was going to get 50%, 0 income for 90 days and 50% for up to 12 months after that. So that's how you've calculated, what do I need to cut out in my expenses? Here's the way I would do it. What will I cut right now? What will I cut in another 30 days? What will I cut in another 60 days? If what's my level 1, 2, and 3 that I'll start cutting if I really feel like, we're not going to come out of this very soon. So always figure the worst case and then you hope for the best.
And one of the things I'm sharing with our agents is definitely do that, but also think what other streams of income are possible now that you could start adding, because if you're not seeing a lot happen, even though you're doing the activities in real estate, cutting will only get you so far. You might have to get creative and figure out where else you have some talents that can make you some money.
Yeah. And by the way, go do the job description of the job you have. I promise you there's things that you were busy and you weren't doing that you could do now and you would get yourself a return on it. Call your database. It's that simple. Go reach out to the people who you've already connected with, and don't believe that everybody in the world is not buying a house right now, because that's not true. People are still buying.
And I personally, I'm watching the stats constantly here, and we've gone down to about 30% of where our market is in March and April. And yet I think that was just the front end. We see it loosening up already and people getting more active because we got through what do we do?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be slow, but that's just the time to go get your unfair share. That's it.
Well, and what I'd be curious to know is, what is that? You said it's down 30%, or we only have 30%?
Down 70%.
Okay. So what is the 30% amount? If you had to guess in houses, how many houses is that a month that's selling?
It'll be about 2,200 this month.
Okay. So anybody on the call have a goal?
But not our openings. So when I say we're down 70%, that's openings. So that's going to be May, June.
Well, even take that number. Anybody on this call got a goal for more than 2,200 this month? Because if you don't, your pie is in that 2,200.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other side of that is a lot of agents are sitting on the sidelines. So at least it's less competitive there. If you just do your job, you'll get your piece of those 2,200.
Yeah. So true. And don't assume that everybody's lost their job because they haven't.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. All right. Any final thoughts?
Wow. I would just say, you know what? Activity breeds activity. So get after it. Don't have to wait for the perfect thing to say, the perfect thing to do. Just pick up the phone, start dialing, and say, how are you? And see where it goes from there.
Yep. Perfect. Love that. All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anything for you guys.
Anything we could ever do for you, let me know. And I will reach out to figure out travel dates and teaching schedules.
Sounds good. I'd love to do it. I love the class and I love sharing it with people. I love watching the lives change as the material unfolds. So happy to do it. You guys take care.
Thank you.
Bye.